Guys, welcome again to Fruitful Investment Strategies. My name is Kalambai, and if this is your first time to follow us, please make sure that you subscribe, you follow, you like. And this is really a very important video that you should share with everybody that you know. You should share this video. Guys, things have changed. The world has changed. The world is no longer the same place that we used to know. It has really changed, and everybody is changing with it. Today, you either have to be actually updated or you are out. Today is actually, we are on, let me check the date because this is very important. Let me check the date. Today we are, excuse me, on the 28th of February, which means the month is actually ending. We're entering into the third month. Now today, Zenlensky was in the United States. He went to actually visit the United States, and in order to get a deal from the United States in terms of war, the financing of the wars. You know, when this war started, people thought that it was just a joke because, they had this noise that they were saying, okay, Putin has actually attacked a country, and they were America was actually gathering everybody around Zenlensky, and blackmailing Putin, taking all the wealth of Putin. Europe was actually blackmailing Putin and taking all the wealth of Putin. All right. But now things have changed. Zenlensky was actually in Washington to look for ways on how to actually continue business as usual, to get Trump on his team, and to get the new administration going. And we have never seen such a scene, guys. First of all, let me be clear on the phone. I would really have bad, I would really feel bad for somebody to come from somewhere else and tell us how our things are going to be. Which means Zenlensky came in and he was trying to lecture the American president how he wants things to be. And that has been actually his ways of doing things. Even in the African Union, in Europe, and everywhere he goes, he wants actually to lecture people on how things should be. Which I do not agree with him. And Trump is one tough guy. He does not really accept with anything that goes outside of his way. He wants to have control over everything, and Trump was standing his ground and saying, hey, your country is actually down. Since the war started, Ukraine has lost more than 20% of its earth or its ground. Now, more than 20% of your ground you've lost in the war. Is that war really? Can you continue holding that war? And especially when America is actually not in the mood to actually continue that war, and they want to establish peace, but you want to continue that war, who's going to fund for that war? Because everything that they're giving actually to Zenlensky, it's not free of charge. Zenlensky has to pay for it in time, and we are talking about 350 billions in dollars, 350 billions in dollars, and that has to come with interest, because as time is passing, interests are also climbing up. We're talking about banks, we're talking about machinery, we're talking about these, companies which are producing weapons. All those, they want actually their money because business has to keep going. You have to remember that America is one of the great countries when it comes to selling weapons. And these weapons, they're selling them to both allies and enemies. They don't care who they sell them to as long as they're sold. And that's what actually Zenlensky was actually hoping to get some loans on the weapons that they have been actually receiving from America, so that the things can continue like that. But America wants in exchange something else. America wants actually the rare earth minerals, which are in Ukraine. And those rare earth minerals are also valued into billions. They are not exploited, but they are valued into billions, which Trump had made an agreement, which they made Zenlensky to read just for 1 hour, and they wanted Zenlensky to sign it. And Zenlensky was saying actually they had a team which was going back and forth between Washington and that capital city and Ukraine, and they had already set everything in motion, and what they were waiting for is just to sign. But when they come in, Zelensky wanted to have some guarantees that Putin, even if it happens that the deal that they made with Putin is broken up, there is a chance that actually America can come and defend Zelensky. But Trump would not give those guarantees. And that's where the feud was. I'll show you something. That's where the feud was.
Military equipment, and you men are brave, but they had to use our military. What about if you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks. Your country is in big trouble.
Can I answer?
No, you've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning.
I know.
You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
you haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
you
and not
haven't been
only
alone.
in this cabinet.
We gave you, through
I
this
said
stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military equipment, and you men are brave, but they had to use our military.
What about
if you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks. Your country's in big trouble.
Now, guys, this is something I have never seen before. First of all, an American president calling another American president stupid president. This is really something I've never seen before. How can an American president call another American president stupid? This is really something out of the ordinary. You can think of somebody, you think of him whatever you think, but calling that person stupid publicly, I've never seen it. And telling another president that his country is dying, his people is dying, it's something which really is not really something which he should say per se, because you have to be politically correct. But Trump is not about playing political correct. Now this is telling us a lot about how the current political situation is in. Europe is in trouble. America is also in trouble. Because the way it is playing right now, it means that it does not have any allies which it can rely on either. So it's everybody going on their own, but the only people who come out victorious in this case is China and Russia. Remember, these people are very disciplined. America is going rogue. Now they're going rogue. They don't really care if you're an ally or you're not. You have to pay. You have to actually pay money. It's all about money and the payment that you have to make. If you don't make those payments, you are out. That's what America is doing. Uncle Sam is actually on business. He does not want, it's not about friendship. They want their money first. And that's what they're doing here, getting Zelensky to pay their money, getting actually the Europeans to pay their money. And that is really something which is very, very, very shameful for the America. And it's really, we don't know where the world is actually going. We don't know where the world is actually going, but we are really in trouble now. I'm not blaming Trump because he has actually to get the money. That's why he ran. His campaign was actually on that. But the thing is, how are you going to do it in this period of time where the world is so unstable? The world is so unstable, it's shaking. Guys, I never felt that way when I saw Zelensky walking out. He walked out of the office. He was literally kicked out. Literally kicked out. He was literally taken out of the office, and he took actually the car and he went. I've never seen it in such a way. He was taken out and he went. And no deal was signed. Everything was actually broken down. So we are experiencing a new world order. things are changing up very quickly. Trump has all the billionaires gathered around him. All the money is gathered around him. All the power is gathered around him because he has all those politicians with him. All the medias which actually were speaking very loud, CNN, all of them has been shattered. Trump has absolute power. And he's actually dealing everything within absolute. So what do you think is going to happen? Please let me know in the comment, down in the comment, what do you think is going to happen? Because everything is going sour. Everything is falling apart, guys. The politics that we used to know, which was actually crooked, now Trump does not want to have that crooked politics. He wants things straightforward. He wants to speak things as he sees them. He's putting Ukraine down on its place and he's raising up Israel. But I think that will turn against Israel. People, the next administration we comes in, it will turn against Israel and they are going to punish Israel for that. It's really, things are really not the same. Everything is not the same. We are changing. Times have changed. Situations have changed. You've seen how many people have been laid out in the American system. Nothing is really as it used to be. Everything has fallen apart. What do you think will be next? Is Trump going to take on Taiwan and say, hey, Taiwan, you have to pay our money or else we are leaving you in the hands of the Chinese? Guys, things are changing. The world is changing. The world is becoming a greater place. But a very dangerous one. Because as everybody is taking part in terms of liberating themselves, as the Ukrainians are trying, or the Russians are trying to create a pole of strength, the Chinese are trying to create a pole of strength, you have strength from different sides of the world, and that will lead into chaos. And this chaos is going to enraven everybody, and everybody is going to fight against everybody. So in this world, I don't think there is any winners. In this world, there is only losers, and America is not going to come out of it anytime soon. Well, I think you have followed my position on America, so let me know what you think about this, and do you think actually Zelensky will get the support that they need actually to continue doing the thing, or will they actually fall into the hands of Russia? Let us know. And if they fall into the hands of Russia, what will happen then? Because there is NATO at the door, and then you have NATO at the door. What happens to NATO? Because not everybody in the NATO trusts Trump either. And if America is not in NATO because it has been threatening to actually withdraw from NATO, what is going to happen to NATO? So we have a Europe that will be divided, which does not have an army to stand against its enemies. And what you have? You have actually a broken system. It's a broken system. Germany does not have a strong army. Since World War, the German army has been diminished and, it has been put aside. The French, they have an army, but that army is not strong. You have maybe 40,000 people armed people, trained military, that actually in the French army for the entire nation. That is not big enough. You have the British has to protect the Isles, and even that army in itself is not strong enough. And when you have the Italians, they don't have the greatest army. Since they were conquered actually in the World War, the American army has been dominating. Norwegian army is a very small army, even though it's tactical. So you have all these things. And what happens? You find yourself in Europe with an army which cannot stand before Russia. The entire system is broken up. The only country that is standing actually to defend Europe is America. Hey guys, what do you think? Should we move to Africa? Because that is the greatest place there is. There's no wars there. At least, not like there is here. Because this one, you don't want to be here when everything turns around. You want to be somewhere else. So let us think about this, let us meditate and see what we do. Because as I can smell this one, it will be. You know, Trump was saying that Zelensky is actually risking all the nations to go for World War III. So you imagine a president saying that, because he has actually the information that is needed. Let's follow him again.
Align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" It doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world. And I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred. And I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with...
Guys, did you hear that? And he's saying that Zelensky has so much hatred against Putin in front of him. Excuse me. And that in itself is something I've never experienced before. And he has just shut out Zelensky. He has taken this guy out. I mean, this is crazy. Let us hold.
You know, hear me there. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough?
Do you see how Zelensky is actually uncomfortable? He's so uncomfortable that he can't move, and his eyes, you know, I feel so ashamed to stand there, and while being accused, Zelensky feels like a child. You know, he feels like a child, like a baby who is actually being, whom they're giving orders to. Wow, let's continue.
Be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way, so that's the way it goes. One more question.
Hey, I have to respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden, of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied it.
So America, or let's say Trump, is actually trying to solve this situation by diplomacy.